Yeah. Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah. Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need
Million
it.
in hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. You see, they told me I'm the one that's gonna benefit. Never been a threat. Talking out of line, but never
Good cut, Isaiah.
That was.
That was tip top. Tip top. Cut him right there. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. Veterans Minimum, the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. I'm your host, Nick Deus, at Nick Deus 10 as you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum. God almighty, I'm handsome, bro.
Yeah, you got a fresh cut.
Fresh
When?
cut.
Today? Yesterday?
Yesterday, I feel like the tattoo, when it flashes, I just feel way cooler. I get it now, bro, why people have tattoos. I get it.
Yeah. More noticeable, like especially if you're an athlete on the field, like you want to make sure that, people can recognize you. I appreciate my brother has a tattoo on his arm. It's easily recognizable. I can catch him no matter where he's at. Plus, he's a fucking tank. But,
Yeah.
Aside from that, that's how we recognize all these other players. NBA players, though, too many tattoos.
Mm.
Like Lonzo Ball with the Mount Rushmore of his idols on his chest. That's a little...
Do you have any tattoos?
No, none.
Do you have any desire to get any?
I mean, no. Like it doesn't seem like something that I would enjoy, dude. I hate getting my blood drawn. I don't like like when COVID happened and I was told that I needed to get a vaccine, I was one of the worst days of my life. I was like, fuck. I thought it was over getting shit like this. So yeah. No, getting a tattoo is like a nightmare for me.
I've always wanted one. And it's crazy, man, because I was going through my Instagram feed recently because I was trying to find an old post.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking through and I had this like canvas in my old apartment, and it was of Biggie Smalls with the Twin Towers in the back, right? Like I always would have it, and it would be in the shot. If you go to any of the old Veterans Minimum when I was recording at the studio in Queens, you'll see it in the background. And it was cool because like I had posted that exact picture on 9/11. Because like I know I'm going off on a tangent right now, but like what's a wild pet peeve I have, and I literally unfollow people and I block them when this happens. During 9/11, when they post, remembering the day, when they post the towers on fire. That, like, as a lifelong New Yorker, that bothers me deeply.
Really?
Like, pay homage to it in a nice way with, like, because, bro, they were beautiful buildings.
Of course.
And the new one that they built now, the New World Trade Center, is, like, it's taller than what the old ones were. And it looks like a building that would be built in the 2010s, 2020s, right? It's, like, it's very modernized.
Yep.
But the Biggie Smalls picture would be in the background there. And I would always say, like, excuse me, if I ever moved from New York, I would want to get a New York themed tattoo. Like I used to have this phone case that was, my favorite movie ever is The Dark Knight.
Good movie.
And I had a phone case of the Joker holding a poker card, and the poker card was the NY of the Giants. So I would always think like, getting that would be sick, right? Like it's my favorite movie, one of my favorite movie characters, and then like obviously my team, so I get the rep. But I just always felt weird. Like I have some friends that have New York Yankee tattoos, and like they still live in New York.
Yeah.
It just never sat well with me. It just like I feel like I rep New York way more now that I've left because I'm just always around it in New York.
Right.
Like you don't realize the New York hustle because you're in it all the time.
Correct.
And I tell a lot of my friends that ask me about moving to Vegas, like, how is it? How's the transition? I'm like, bro, as a New Yorker, you'll fucking lap people out here.
Yeah.
Just because it's like.
Constantly. When I went this time last year, it was amazing. Like I've never experienced a city that made me feel like I wasn't doing shit. And I was doing a lot here in Vegas. But you go out there and I went on the tour. What's the tour called? The Circle Line. There we go. So I went on the Circle Line tour, and you got that brolic tour guide, you know, with a New York accent, and he's just explaining. He's like, New Yorkers have the motivation to build anything. That's what these skyscrapers are doing. They represent New York and what is possible. Like, fired me up, bro. Made me feel like I hadn't done shit in my life. So I get it.
Dude, all my friends, with the exception of like one, two, like my childhood friends that I grew up with, I'd say like with the exception of like 5 of them, mind you, I had a group of like 15 that I grew up with, really 12. And then as we got older, more people joined in. But for the most part, like the core, they're all like blue collar guys, dude. Union, locals, plumbers, electricians. Buddy Ralph is a crane operator. And he'll be like, yo, you see that building there? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I helped build that. I was like, I'm not going to that fucking building. You build it, right? I got another friend who works on planes, like designs planes.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I need to know the code of your plane. I ain't going on that shit.
Yeah, a lot of the door handles or the doors have been flying open lately, bro. Hopefully it wasn't your boy.
It wasn't those. Nah. He's actually, but it's crazy though, because like, you know, you're really good at your job, but your friends know you and you're a piece of shit and you're an asshole, right? Like my friends that see some of the things that I'm doing, they're like, bro, how? Like, how are you having meetings with people at the Win? And then now it's serious, but then you're also a fucking idiot because they know me, you know? It's like you have to have the ability to, you know when to turn it on and off and not take yourself too seriously, because like I always like having fun, and that's a big reason why. And I know we went off on a tangent to start off the show, but I don't know, I like kind of having these conversations.
Yeah, I mean, it started with tattoos. One of the things I wanted to add with like weird New York Yankees tattoos, maybe. Have you seen anybody pinstripe their body? Like that would be a true Yank right there. That's, you know, Yankee fans, you're welcome. Go get that one.
That's wild. No, I haven't seen that. But for me, it always just sat strangely. And like growing up, I liked Spider-Man, but I never would have thought that I would get a Spider-Man tattoo. I got it because I left. And then like as I got older, I was watching Spider-Man, and I always had that one other canvas where it's the scene from the Marvel movies where Captain America is like, yo, you got heart, kid. Where you from? And Spider-Man says Queens. And then Captain America goes, oh, Brooklyn. And then he like, you know, storms away or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, I want to do something that like pays homage to my pops, number one. That's why I got the street sign here. And then like Queens. Because like I feel like that just, when people meet me, they're like, yo, bro, Queens for sure.
Yeah, you're lucky, dude. Like I was lucky I got to grow up in Vegas. You were lucky that one of the greatest movie franchises ever was based in your city.
Yeah.
You know,
for real.
That's just the way it works out sometimes.
That ass, man.
If you live in Missoula, Montana, Yellowstone came out.
Oh.
And now you're popular, you know?
Or what's the other show? Ozark.
Yeah, people in Missouri just like out of nowhere.
Missouri's popping now. You know who needs some dope shit? Idaho, because we need that's what we need. We need a series to be filmed in Idaho to show us some dope shit about Idaho. So then they're not a punching bag on the show, because everything whack. Like I always think of Idaho. Yeah. When I think of like a place I would never want to go visit, it's Idaho. When I think of a piece of shit person, I think of a name Kyle.
That's good.
Mind you, 2 of the guys I train with, one of my really good friends out here in Vegas, his name is Kyle. Great guy.
Yeah.
But also, right, it's like the stigma of Chad. This guy's a Chad. And you kind of know exactly. And then for girls that are like kind of shitty, I think of the name Heather. I had a Heather growing up when I was in elementary school, and she was just mean, bro. Just mean. And like, you know, when growing up, people be like, oh, if they were mean to you, it's because they liked you. No. She was just mean. She did not like anybody.
Damn, dude, I'm trying to think about a girl name that I'm struggling right now. I mean, Karen's just the obvious one. And it was
Karen
funny.
Is now like the old white woman is Karen.
I'd love watching Bar Rescue. It's like one of my new favorite things. And on one of the past episodes, there was a Karen, and she was a bartender. She looked like a Karen.
Yeah.
And she made shitty drinks. Fucking love Bar Rescue.
Fuck yeah.
New episode every Sunday.
Let's get it.
Shameless plug.
Let's get it. All right, let's dive into the NBA. We have a jam-packed episode. For those of you that missed the show on Monday, win totals, George and I ran through the AFC and the NFC win totals, kind of touched on a lot of different spots and scenarios, and kind of just explaining a bunch of stuff. Um, but we got to talk about the NBA playoffs, man. NBA playoffs so far, just going to run through every single series at the time that we're recording. The Miami Heat just tied the series 1 apiece, beating the Celtics. We're going to start with that game, but let's just finish through the rundown. The Magic are down 2-0. The Sixers are down 2-0. The Nuggets are up 2-0. The Maverick series is 1-1. The Suns are down 0-2. As this is loading up now. Excuse me, sorry. The Pacers are 1 apiece. And I think I basically touched on every series with the exception of the Thunder and the Pelicans. So at the time of recording, the Thunder are up, but that game is going on now.
Yep.
Okay. You're a Celtics fan.
Yes.
Explain to me what happened.
I think
As a 14.5-point favorite,
yeah.
they lose outright. The Miami Heat were plus 800 consensus. I will say this. I don't know if a lot of sports bettors still like using this term because during like the 2018 and then especially with the pandemic, it didn't really apply. But in the NBA betting community, it's called the zigzag theory. And what that is when you have one team cover, especially by a wide margin, right? The next game, take the other team to cover. Maybe not win outright, but
definitely to play harder than they did the night
exactly.
before. Yeah.
And this would be an example. Like I had like $50 on the Heat to cover the 14.5. Did not think that they would win outright.
Right.
But that's kind of like the zigzag theory in NBA playoff betting. And it's a situation that I do like betting a lot. And I've said this in the past. NBA playoff betting, it's up there with like UFC and NFL and soccer for me.
Right.
I love it because now, SGA in this game, for example, he's going to play 40 minutes.
100%.
Unless they blow them out or they get blown out, fine. But guys are playing 40 minutes, 47 minutes if you're on the New York Knicks because Thibodeau's going to run you into the ground. Shit, every team runs a rotation of like 8. He's like 6.5.
Facts.
But, I'm being silly there. But it's like it's gut check. There's no minute restrictions. Shit, the Nuggets have 2 days off in between games. So do the Knicks and the Sixers. Like, they space it out so that fatigue isn't really a factor.
Right.
With all that being said, the Heat win outright, plus 800. George, you're a Celtics fan. Celtics is the first time since the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James-led teams that a team was minus 200 or more to win their conference.
Wow.
Now it's 1-1. What happened as a Celtics fan?
Eric Spoelstra knows a lot of basketball. And he was the defensive scheme that he whipped up today was just pristine. And that's the thing that the Celtics just needed to avoid was to not play into a lot of the traps. Like, bro, when you watch the Miami Heat play defense, they don't switch a lot of things. Like, they fight through things and they make things a little more convoluted than how it would be in the regular season where you just see a lot of easy switches and stuff. And the Celtics today just were, they were missing a lot of shots. And I think the game plan offensively for the Miami Heat, this was the 4th most 3-pointers ever shot in an NBA playoff game by the Heat. They hit 23 of those threes. And I think that's just the only way that they can keep up with the Celtics is they just need to fire. They shot, I think, 64% 3-pointers as opposed to, any mid-range or feet in the paint. They definitely know that they have the advantage behind the arc, so they have to exploit that. And, I mean, I'll ask this question to you because the Heat are, in a way, the Celtics' kryptonite, or they can at least show the chinks in the armor. Where do you rank Eric Spoelstra in best NBA coaches of all time?
Of all time?
Yeah.
Can I tell you who I think the best coach of all time is?
Yeah.
Greg Popovich.
I like that.
Even though he hasn't won as many championships as Phil Jackson did, who I think would be the consensus for a lot of people, I feel like it's the same argument I make in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jim Calhoun is the best coach of all time.
It's a good choice.
And I'll tell you why. He turned UConn,
Into
Stores, Connecticut, into a legitimate basketball powerhouse.
a blue blood for sure.
Whereas, yeah, Kentucky's always been good. Duke is always, UNC is always going to be good. Whereas you turn a random ass, like Dabo Sweeney made Clemson into a national title.
Yeah.
You know, Nick Saban in Alabama, I'm not saying that they're not great coaches, but the infrastructure in place and the culture and just the aura of like, yo, I'm playing at Duke, it kind of recruits itself. For you to get people to go to fucking Stores, Connecticut,
That's impressive.
that's impressive, bro. Right? So, like, he was in LA with Kobe and Shaq, and then obviously he had Jordan. Iconic pillars in basketball. Greg Popovich had Tim Duncan. Probably the most underrated player of all time.
Agreed.
Like, people just forget that this dude, Mr. Fundamentals, because he wasn't flashy.
Of course.
I used to make the running joke that, like, yo, Tim Duncan had the same 2K speed from his rookie year to when he ended. And that's a reason why he played for as long as he played at such a high level.
Yeah.
He wasn't a Blake Griffin. He wasn't a Kevin Garnett.
No.
That their explosiveness allowed them to be great, which is
Correct.
not a bad thing. But, like, I always gravitated to guys like that. You know, like Luka and Jokic.
That make it look easy at a slower pace.
Yeah. And
Yep.
it's like, bro, you're like John Wall was amazing until he started getting hurt. And the thing that made you great was your explosiveness. As you get later in your career, it's going to diminish and it's going to ruin your performance.
Correct.
Whereas guys like Paul Pierce have close to 20-year careers. Paul Pierce was never the most
Explosive.
freak athlete.
Yeah.
You never was like, yo, bro, he jumps out the gym. No, he doesn't.
Right.
And I always gravitated to players like that. And I know I kind of went off on like talking about the players, but going back to like the coaching question that you asked me, I would say Greg Popovich, because the Spurs became an iconic franchise because of him. And he found Kawhi,
Right.
Ginobili, Parker. Like, yeah, Duncan and Duncan probably would have been a great anywhere he went.
Right.
But it's just harder for you to be great in non-traditional powers, especially in college. Like in the NBA too, where like turning the Spurs into a model franchise.
Right.
It's impressive.
100%.
I would say Spoelstra is probably third on that list.
He's definitely every year that he's able to pull off something. I'm not saying that the Heat are going to upset the Celtics. I mean, if you want to, throw a crazy underdog into the mix, I mean, go ahead, because now you got two very tough games coming up at because it's 2-2, 1-1-1, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you got another two tough games coming on, and I think without Jimmy Butler, it'll obviously hurt them, but shooting in your home gym can win you a lot of games. So back to it though, Eric Spoelstra, in my eyes, is maybe number 2. And that's because he's had the evolutions. And I even think Pop has a third evolution, which will be the first time that we've ever seen a coach go from Duncan to Kawhi. And then who's to say in a year or two, Wemby and him don't, compete for a title. Even if they don't win it, super impressive. Spoelstra is kind of going through that right now. And without Jimmy Butler in this series, if they're able to pull it off, bro, like he will have officially cemented himself on the Mount Rushmore. And I don't think a lot of people think of him that way. But he's a mastermind, bro. So when I saw the Celtics down today, or the game that was it was close, I turned it on roughly in the third quarter, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But I mean, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised, because he can motivate all these no names. And you know who it really is though? It's Pat Riley, too, and the front office that's able to kind of instill in these guys that there is a chance.
Yeah. I think though that I think Spoelstra's best work, obviously when he first got the job, he had Pat Riley and then he had the LeBron and Wade and Bosh.
Right.
and he was kind of overrated then.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, how much coaching is he really doing?
100%.
I think his best work came after,
Agreed.
where, you see some of the guys that have been on his roster and you're like, this guy ends up leaving and making $80 million elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's like this guy was an afterthought. And the thing with Spoelstra, which is crazy, fun fact, I wish I would have seen this beforehand, right? These always come out after.
Right.
It ruins the fun. Eric Spoelstra, in his career, after losing game 1, 10-3 in game 2s.
Oh, shit.
If you blindly bet Eric Spoelstra money line in game 2s after losing game 1, $100 bets, you'd be up $3,700. Crazy, right?
Heat culture.
Crazy. Heat culture. Yeah. And look, man, I think with Miami, and everyone knows that the last couple of years, I've been on the Miami wave with them. Like, around February, don't forget, we like the Bucks, we like the Celtics, we like the Sixers. We'll randomly like the Raptors. It's like, don't forget about Miami.
Yeah.
Like, they have the core there, and especially when they got Jimmy Butler. And to your point about them being the kryptonite, playoff matchups between the Heat and the Celtics, we'll go back to the bubble. Heat beat them in 6. 2022, they lost in 7, the Heat did.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, they beat them in 7. So they've ran into each other. And then if you go back further to, in 2011, the Heat beat them in 5. So these teams have matched up in the past. And, but I'm saying the last 3 meetings, the 2020, 2022, and 2023, and now you have them in 2024, it's a lot of the same core, if not the same core.
Oh, yeah,
it's Brown, it's Tatum. Right now you have, Porzingis and Drew Holiday, but
they've had Adebayo, they've had Butler,
Yeah.
they added Hero along the way.
Right.
Really, if I'm not mistaken, Tyler Hero's first year was the bubble year.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So he's experienced the rivalry in its fullest extent, and he came out and played insane today.
Yeah. And to your point also about the 3-pointers, it's what the NBA has become now too. And a lot of people don't like it. But I'm telling you, if you miss a game, regular season or playoffs, go to the box score and just look at who shot better from 3. It's like 90%.
Yeah.
And I know it's a kind of obvious take, but they hit 23 threes. And they shot 53% from 3.
That's nuts.
The Celtics only hit 12 threes. That's your difference right there.
Yep.
And how many of those are momentum swings,
Yeah.
run stoppers? Like, that was when Klay Thompson was like at his peak. He was like, him and Curry were run stoppers. Team is going on an 11-2 run. They'd hit back-to-back threes. All right, now they're back up 8 again.
Yeah.
Right? Or the other way around. They're down. How many times, bro? It used to be an auto bet. You bet the Warriors in the 3rd quarter.
Yep.
Like, it used to be whatever Steve Kerr was doing at halftime, all that shit. It was wicked. So I just think that they just have their number, and they just match up. That's better. They match up great with them.
Agreed.
And they're not intimidated. And last year they went to the finals as an 8 seed. In the playoffs, it becomes a lot of the matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Even if your team is better, you just don't match up well with them.
Yeah, and it's almost like the Celtics in a way have like what you should always be careful with is when a team blows somebody out, to go back to your zigzag method. Like, I know we're going to touch on the Bucks, but you had Damian Lillard go absolutely batshit for the first half. They're up by a lot. Dame sits or doesn't even take a shot in the second half, if I'm not mistaken, and then they come out the next game and they get steamrolled. The Celtics go out to a huge lead in game 1. A lot of their players rested, that they didn't get all the minutes that they should have, and they got punched in the mouth early on. And I think it's to Thibodeau's point, you just got to keep the boys. If they're always playing playoff minutes, they're ready for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm riding with them. And they're getting paid millions of dollars to do so.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they're gonna play.
this ain't the Hawks on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like,
You're going, dog.
We're running you into the ground.
Yep.
So this is what we need you for. Does this any cause to panic if you're the Celtics? Like, look, another thing, real quick. 5-2 in their last 7 playoff games in TD Garden. Miami's like, yo, this is basically Miami for us. We don't care.
Yeah.
You're not intimidating us.
Mm-hmm.
This is a venue that we feel very comfortable in.
Yeah.
Any panic though?
The panic will really set in if we drop the next one. I think that will be smash the panic button. But for right now,
Because like,
you
yo,
just-
you know
you played them. They still had an opportunity at the
Yeah.
end of the game. But I think the game plan for the Celtics was definitely not to match them tit for tat from the 3-point line. But, you know, when another team's hitting 53% and they've chucked up 45 threes, you kind of got to change your game plan. Like, we can't be playing iso ball with Tatum and Brown. And they were just playing defense so well. If you go back and you watch the highlights, well, you won't be able to see them because it was all the missed shots. But getting Jaylen Brown to go to his left, getting Jason Tatum to go to his left, you just saw it constantly. And the way that they would funnel him into Bam Adebayo, and they're just sucked. And so I would like to see a lot more attacking on the right hand side for the Celtics going into Game 3. But yeah, if they lose the next one, I will put the Celtics' future down on them to win the title because that'll be the best odds that you'll get them at. They'll still probably be 2-3 to 1, but yeah, we were talking about before. We kind of want it.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of want them to drop the next one.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you now,
Everyone
like,
to freak out.
If they happen to lose Game 3, the Celtics, that is,
Convincingly,
it's definitely a play that you'll probably be seeing on social media that you should take the Celtics. Because like, yo, they've been a really good team, man. They've been the best team in the league all year. Their depth is still crazy, and they're still a very good team. It's just this matchup is gonna make people be concerned about them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, bro, as a Knicks fan, I was texting some of my buddies, and I was like, yo, bro, this is good because I've bet the Knicks.
Right.
I bet the Rangers in hockey. Homer. That's my handicap. I'm a homer.
Do they
Right.
have the parlay where you can?
Oh, I do have a New York parlay.
I was about to say, yeah,
which,
you got to.
You know, we might go to some gentlemen's clubs if we do hit these. Oh, we might even go to the parade in New York, do a double.
It's pretty lit.
That'd be fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, updated odds minus 1,200 are still the Celtics to win the series. So the sports books are not really that concerned about this happening. Okay, let's talk. I want to pose a question to you.
Okay.
We have 3 series at the time that we're recording where a team is down 0-2. We have the Magic,
Mm-hmm.
the 76ers, the Lakers, and the Suns. I said 3, it's 4. Apologize. George, if I gave you $1,000,
Yeah.
first of all, you'd be hyped.
I'd be fired up, dude. Yeah.
I'd be fired up too. Like even, like I said, money earned is not as fun and as fulfilling as money won or
Correct.
handed to.
Yes.
If I was to give you $1,000 and I told you, George, you have to bet on one of these teams that are down 0-2 to come back and win the series, who would you bet on? Odds aside.
Right.
I'm talking about what you think, a series isn't over until the team loses at home. We get that.
Yeah.
But from what you've seen and what you've gathered,
Yeah.
what's your answer?
And you're not going to like it, but it's going to be the 76ers.
I don't like it, but I also think it's the right answer.
Because every game that has been played so far, not only do the teams match up well, but I think a player that's really shocked me is how just consistent Tyrese Maxey is. Like he's a speedster. He can hit the shot. He can control the game in a way that, like, I like the way that Tyrese Maxey plays way more than Jalen Brunson. I think he's just a better overall team point guard. I think Jalen Brunson kind of wears 2 caps where it's like, I do got to, dish out the rock, but I also got to drop 30. And and that's a tough position to play. I really like this 76ers team. The length that they have, I just don't understand why they suck at late game situations. I think Joel Embiid, and I know I'm making a case for them to come back and beat the Knicks, but it's like at some point in time, bro, you got to hit a clutch time shot. Less than 2 minutes to go, and you get the ball in a post up. I can't be expecting you to clank that shit off the rim, which happens a lot.
Have I told you my theory on big men being your primary scorer down the?
No, you haven't, but please elaborate on it because I'm almost certain I agree with you 100%.
Don't like it. I don't want your go-to scorer with 4 minutes left being your big guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I mean big guy, I mean traditional back to the basket,
Yes.
7-footer. Giannis is a big.
Yes. But
But-
he's not going to play back to the basket a majority of the time.
And he's like their point guard,
Correct.
high usage rate. I just don't like it. And if you just look at the history of the league, there's always been like a guard or a forward coming off that.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq had Kobe,
Yep.
right? Or it's always just been a guard.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. Jokic,
Correct.
but he also has Murray. The
Yeah.
high pick and roll. Like that was, there's a lot I
Or
want to
just-
get to that series, but
Yeah.
I just don't like it. But you're probably going to get fried in the comments about the Brunson and Maxey. I don't think you're wrong,
I don't think I'm wrong either.
but the Knicks hive is very deadly. Like
I understand what podcast I'm on right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, you got
It
to
hurts to
understand
hear the truth.
Jalen Brunson. Like anytime a Knicks player does well, like I said about DiVincenzo when he hit the 3 to win the game,
Oh my God.
I was like, yo, he's good everywhere in New York.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't need security guards. They don't like the streets are gonna make sure that no one fucks with them right
He's
now.
protected.
Dude, being the star on the Knicks might be the best star you could be on any team. It's like being the Cowboys quarterback.
Yep.
You know how like the aura of like, oh, you're the Cowboys quarterback. It's
Yep.
to say if you're the main guy for the Knicks, especially in New York,
It's
forget
over.
it. The Brunson slander is crazy. But to your point though, Maxey was also an all-star.
Yep.
There's been lead segments on a lot of talk shows saying Brunson was the best player in the East this year. Brunson was the best point guard in the league this year.
Right.
Maxey he's been balling, man. You know,
Agreed.
35, 10 and 10, 10 and 9, almost a triple-double in game 2. Brunson hasn't been shooting well, and I think that's the best silver lining for the Knicks is he hasn't needed to drop the 35, 40 points for them to win, and they're up 2-0.
Yeah.
Because that's going to come around.
Because you
too.
know he's good for one.
He's going to have those games, and
Yeah.
that's another thing I like highlighting in the playoffs is the star on the team. When they have a game where they go under their point total, a little zigzag theory,
In that regard, too.
take him over in that next game,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Makes sense.
It's just something where like, yo, they're gonna answer the phone.
Right.
They're gonna come to play.
Yeah.
But Maxey has been great. I think the issues with the Sixers is if it ain't Maxey and Embiid, it's nobody else, bro. They had one guy in double figures, and it was Tobias Harris. And he had 10.
Right.
It's like, yo, you can't have that. Where the Knicks, you're getting a lot of balance there. You know,
Yeah.
Everyone in the starting lineup had double digits.
The team has really amazed me in the years 1 year difference from when I watched them play the Heat last year till now. In the way that Harkenstein is like a legitimate big.
Yeah.
You know, like he's somebody that you can rely on to play physical and get the boards that you need to, but you're also not weighed down by Julius Randle, you know? Like
Yo, so
not
I love that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because when they announced him out,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people on social media said it's a devastating loss for the Knicks. And I felt like I was in the minority saying, is it though?
bro? They because it's required that he gets up 15 to 20 shots, and And he's just not like the game's got to come to Julius Randle. He's not a person that creates the game around him. You know?
I also think, yeah, I agree with you. But to add more to that, he's been pretty bad in the playoffs with the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the team hasn't played with him for like 3 months. And I think that's really important. If a guy got hurt, if Randall got hurt 2 games before the regular season ended, and you haven't been able to adapt to not having him there, yeah, that'll be very detrimental to your team's success. They've been playing well, really well without him.
Right.
And it's carrying over. And to your point about them playing last year, it's another year in the system, another year where like, yo, Brunson, this is your team.
Yep.
Everyone's rallying behind you. The Nova Knicks.
Yeah, dude.
DiVincenzo has been great. Hart is an amazing complementary piece to Brunson. The continuity also, too. I made the analogy, and I was getting fried for this in the Discord. I compared them to the Nuggets in the sense of like, yo, they like playing together.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're the Nuggets. We don't have no Jokic.
Yeah.
We have a Murray. You know,
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's a discussion to have. But it's the continuity, and they look like they enjoy themselves, and they have a relationship going back to college, like the 3 guards.
Mm-hmm.
And then just everybody else, man. Like Deuce coming off the bench. He's been a spark, especially in game 1. And having Mitchell Robinson come off the bench and not expecting him to be a 30-minute guy, like you said to your point about Hartenstein. I think this team they're solid, man. They're solid. I don't know how far they could go. Obviously, I'm being cautiously optimistic, but I just think it's a different Knicks team, and we got to see them now go into Philly. Because I do think that's the answer, though. I do think that's the answer of the teams that are down 0-2. That's the one that I would say, I don't think that series is over yet. And you know what? You know who else don't think that? The odds makers. Because of the 4 series that we broke down, they're plus 320. The shortest odds of the teams. And then you have the Suns at plus 350, Magic plus 475, and then you have the Lakers at plus 700. So I agree with you, man. I think that's the series that's not over yet.
Yeah. And all Knicks fans, you better watch out. Tyrese Maxey is out there to claim his rightful throne of being the best or one of the best point guards in the East.
And also like, dude, they gave up Harden in the offseason and like got behind this guy. I think that's a real thing.
Yeah.
When a team gets behind you and they say, yo, you know what, you're going to be our guy.
I mean, he just seems like such a great teammate. You know, like some people play with a natural smile on their face. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Tyrese Maxey like upset.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
they'll be getting blown out by 30. He'll still come back smiling, hustle to the bench. I mean, what more can you ask for? Jalen Brunson walks to the bench. Character. Like,
You're a big body language guy, though.
Dude,
so
huge. Tyrese
that
Maxey,
totally,
he's here. He's here for it.
That totally makes sense.
Jalen Brunson's like fucking, trying to look all tough. Get a Timberland commercial after the season.
Timberlands is on brand for New Yorkers for sure. Shout out to the Tims. Let me ask you this: what other series has
stood out to me?
Yeah,
because so just so everybody knows, I mean, I've been paying attention the last 3 weeks of basketball, but a lot of what I was hearing going into these playoffs was how good the Orlando Magic are. And when I go back and I watch the tape and I see the way that Paolo Banchero, or how would you say his last name?
Banchero.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was Banchero, but Paulo's he's a problem. He's like a legitimate Jason Tatum level type scorer for that team. And they're filled around with shooters and they're young. They shout to me though that they're a year, maybe 2 years out.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think they need one more veteran piece.
Yeah. Because they're not the youngest team. I think the Thunder are the youngest team in the league.
Yeah. But
they got to
the
be
Magic are
close
by, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've always had this take, right? It's like dope when your whole team is under 25 because the future looks bright. But there's a reason why Udonis Haslem played for as long as he did. And if you want to say that he was just a coach on the bench, sure, but you need to have those grizzled vets to be like, yo, bro, you can't go out at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
we got a game at 7.
Yeah.
Like there's certain leadership qualities that just being a vet in the league for as long as you have been. Dude, we had CJ Watson on and he was talking about that.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, you can't just have all young guys. You can't just have all old guys too. You need to have that youth.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, that guy's coming in to take my spot. I
Right.
gotta make sure I'm on it. And I just think that I agree with you. I think the Magic are a year away, exceeded expectations, smashed their win total
Right.
by like 14 games.
Crazy.
They got to a legitimate playoff seed. And what I mean by that is they didn't need to do the play-in game to
Right.
get in. And they just have a really young roster. And I think also the one thing that I said about the Magic was they also reminded me of the Nuggets in the sense of people didn't understand how good they were because they weren't on TV a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year when the Nuggets went on that run, I think they only lost 4 playoff games. People were like, yo, shit, man, this Nuggets. It's like, yeah, bro, they're just not on TV often.
Yeah.
Now I think they had like 50 nationally televised games this year,
Jesus.
which makes sense. But at the time, it's just really important to monitor that. To me, that series has kind of been, the Magic were one of the more darling teams to win the series. I think I picked them in 7 to win the series as well.
Right.
I think Donovan Mitchell came back and he's been balling.
I know we'll probably go through the list, but I'll spoil it for you right now. He's the MVP of the playoffs so far.
Oh, okay.
He can take over a game better than anybody, bro. And here's the thing, like I do know that there's been noticeable performances put on by Jamal Murray. Jokic has been playing out of his mind. You had Dame Lillard drop 33 in the first half. But those games were so out of hand that they didn't need to keep playing. Donovan Mitchell was in I think it was game 2. The Cavs got a somewhat decent lead. The Magic brought it back to within 9. And then Donovan Mitchell literally went 3 possessions in a row. Bucket, bucket, bucket. And when I look at people that can, do that on a playoff level and have the confidence, I mean, dude, he's one of the better playoff players that we have in the league right now. I just looked up his all-time playoff stats. In 46 games, he's averaged 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. It's a model of consistency. And he doesn't score 27 quietly either. Like Donovan Mitchell will score 27 and get the entire city of Cleveland out of their seat. He's the jump on the scorer's table type of guy. So far of the playoffs, he's my MVP.
I like it. A little off the board, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is on board. It's on brand too. If you've been listening to the show the last month and change, to me, it's Luka.
Got it.
Luka's been the MVP, even though the series is 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that he always gets shit for him as a defender. Check this out. When guarded by Luka Doncic in Game 2, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and James Harden scored a combined total of points of how many, George?
13.
0.
Whoa. Lockdown. I don't know. I'd have to go. Like I
think defense it's heart and effort.
Correct.
You know who used to be a really good defender when he wanted to?
Go for it.
Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, dude.
When he would play the Heat,
Yep.
when he would play the Celtics and he would have to guard LeBron, especially when he would guard LeBron,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, bro, why can't we get this
level
on the
of
Tuesday against the Hawks?
right.
Because that wasn't his. He's like, yo, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get 30.
Right.
I ain't defending nobody. But there was like
Pride.
Yes. Pride and ego. Like, yo, I know you're my man.
Mm-hmm.
We're boys. But like,
Right.
I'm going to show you that I'm on that same tier as you. Dude, Melo used to go at it with LeBron.
Yeah. Paul
And he
Pierce.
and he used to defend him really well. And I don't know if like with Luka to this point and how well he played defensively in Game 2, because I think that's the story.
Mhm.
If he's going to start playing defense like this,
I mean, it's pretty much game, set, match, right?
yeah,
Like,
I feel a
there's
lot better about my Mavericks West and Mavericks to win the finals
Right.
bets that I have. But dude, for me, he's been the MVP. He's been going crazy in the games also. Like he's been carrying them in scoring.
Definitely.
Also with the assist, he played 46 of 48 minutes, which is what we want. Jason Kidd also said, like, yo, the stars gotta gotta show up and play. And if you look at the history of the NBA, like, there's always a random. So game 1 of the Sixers Knicks, I was texting my buddy Impy, who was on the show a while back during the Super Bowl. We have this thing where it's like, oh, this is the so-and-so game. It's like, yo, this is the McBride game.
Yeah.
This is the Deuce game.
Right.
Because he had a monster. Because in order for you to go on and win a championship, it's like, yo, you know Luka and Kyrie are going to combine for 70.
But who's coming off the bench?
Who's going to give you the 20 randomly?
Right.
The Max Strus of the world.
Mm-hmm.
The Deladovas.
Caleb Martin.
Yeah, you need those random guys, the random dude who has that night that elevates the team. Because Kyrie and Luka are going to show up every night.
Yep.
Is it PJ Washington?
Right.
Is it like Kleber? Right? Like it needs to be, you know, those random guys that you don't expect to go out there and drop 20.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why with Luka, for me, I think he's been the MVP of the playoffs. What he did defensively.
Yeah.
If you're in the West, you should be put on notice. Because that was crazy. And I think it comes back to effort. What I was saying about Carmelo. There were nights, man, whenever they would play the Heat, Carmelo would take pride, which is the exact word that you use, and it was perfect to describe him, and he would just ball out.
Yeah.
Defensively, that is.
For sure.
You know, so
I do think it took him getting smacked in the mouth game 1 to realize, like, oh shit, like I gotta kick it into high gear. And I also think he got kind of lucky because I'm gonna be honest, the Clippers are so star loaded. Kawhi Leonard, bro, come back when you're ready. Like, the fact that they are trying to work him into the mix and it's a fucking shell of himself, it's tough to watch for me because I'm a huge Kawhi Leonard fan. But I think when he was thrown into the mix in game 2, it just wasn't the same team. And I do think they have so many stars, it's like, it doesn't matter, bro.
yeah.
Like, look at all these big time stars that are sitting out till, you know, the second series. I think they should do that.
No, there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. You know, he played 68 of the first 74 games. He was relatively healthy. It's the most games that he's played.
Yeah.
Since 2016, 2017 was when he was with the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
But when he gets shut down out of nowhere, especially with his injury history,
yeah,
you're like, ah, fucked.
'Cause
Dude, the Clippers went on that crazy run. They were like 26-5
yeah.
at one point during the season. But I feel like they peaked too early.
Yeah.
Where like the Mavericks became one of the best. They were like 16-3 to end the year. And I know they lost a couple of games where the record was like 17-6, but those games, Kyrie and Luka weren't playing in those games. So it didn't matter because they had already solidified that they're going to be the 4 or 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. They have a lot of depth. I wouldn't rush him back. But also, like, I think he played 35 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a lot of stuff that, all right, his scoring, he only had 15, but 7 rebounds, 4 steals. I think if you're a Clipper fan, you feel good about that.
Yeah.
Because, sure, he didn't score the 25 that he would normally get in a playoff game, but I think I would feel good about him moving forward.
Right. I mean, he understood his role in that position, but to, you know, I mean, the way that they have to disperse shots, though, is the issue, dude. Because if you're a superstar in this league and you're not guaranteed 20, which if I'm looking at the box score correctly here, he had the most shots on the team with 17. I think that's an issue. You know, like, I mean, Jalen Brunson, when I was looking at that box score, he put up 29 shots. That's what your superstar, your offensive stud needs to get more than 20 shots. And to do like everybody gets 15, 12 to 18 shots, I don't think that's a healthy recipe for success. Because then that makes everybody feel like, oh, well, I'm one person being injured away from getting my extra 4 shots.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that Ty Lue's got to work out, man. It's going to go 7. This series is going 7.
Oh, you think so?
This series is going 7.
Okay.
And I said it before the series started. Whoever has the ball last is the winner of this series. It's going to be that good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Let me ask you this. In sports,
Mm-hmm.
we'll stay with NBA, but in sports, I'd eliminate football because football, it's a one-game elimination. But in hockey, baseball, basketball, right, where you have a series, do you feel like you watch games, and it might be game one, it might be game two. A team loses a game, and you think they lose the series.
Yes. Yeah.
And is that game two for the Lakers? Because that's how I feel.
Ooh.
I think you're up. You've lost nine
God.
straight. You've lost 9 straight to the Nuggets.
Yep.
You get a monster AD game. AD had like 30 and 15, or 33 and 15, like around there.
Yep.
So he balled. He got put not in one, in like 12 different blenders by Jokic
Correct.
in the second half. They're up 20 in the third quarter. And bro, I posted this on my Instagram. I've been betting for like 20 years. I think betting is the longest relationship I've ever had in my life. I've been betting longer than I played soccer. I started playing soccer at 8. I was betting when I was 7. Or at least I was introduced to it.
Right,
right. I wasn't, I didn't have a betting account, obviously, but like
Kids,
that's when I was
responsibly.
That's when I was introduced to betting. So
Yeah.
sports betting is the longest relationship I've ever had in my life. With that said, about a decade ago, when a team was down 20 in the second half, you could get plus 900, plus 1100 live. Bro, the Lakers with 840
Can I guess?
in the third quarter were up 20. Do you know what the live line on the Nuggets was?
Plus 325.
I wish. I
It
wish.
was even lower than that,
Bro,
bro.
plus 180.
Oh God. Oh no.
I can't bet that.
God, they're smart as fuck, dude.
I can't bet that.
Aren't they just?
And
they're
then they
so
win
good.
at the buzzer with Jamal Murray.
Yeah. They were good. Yeah.
I mean, they tied it a bunch, and it was a back and forth game in the
Was it
fourth
tied
quarter.
when he shot that, or were they down by 1?
I think that was the game winner. I think it was tied. I'm pretty sure it was tied.
Okay.
But
Regardless, yeah.
isn't that wild, though?
That's really bad. Damn. That shocks me, man.
It was tied because it
Okay.
ended 101-99. I just checked it now. We got
Gotcha.
to get some better internet in here. I don't know what's happening. But, like, dude, AD, he had, where is it? He had 32 and 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
LeBron had 26, 8 and 12.
And that was the best LeBron you were going to get. LeBron, one noticeable difference from game 1 to game 2 was game 1, he was relying on drawing doubles as he was driving in. I mean, he's one of the best passers in the league, dude. I mean, some of these passes that he makes, and they just land in perfect catch and shoot placement. It's insane. Game 2, LeBron said, I'm the greatest player to ever play the game of basketball. Get the fuck out of my way. And that LeBron right there, by far my favorite LeBron. If he doesn't do it game 3 and game 4, Michael Jordan's better. I'm just going to say it, dude. Because he can't pick and choose like this.
Nah, I think LeBron in the fourth quarter hit some monster shots.
He scored 6 points with like 3 minutes left.
Yeah, and he hit like back-to-back threes. Yeah,
Yep.
and then he missed a wide open 3.
Yeah.
And then everyone crucifies him for that, which I get, right?
No,
like,
take it. Take the shot.
no, I'm not saying not to take the shot, but I'm
Yeah.
saying the fact that he missed it there, people were going crazy about it. But
They're
I just think now the Nuggets have beaten them 10 straight times.
Mm-hmm.
Last time that the Lakers won was December of 2022 that they beat them. And look, man, again, it's the continuity of this team. Like, you look at their starting 5, these guys have been playing together for many, many years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I always talk in the past, I called it the 5-5-5-5. If it's game 5, 5 minutes left, you're down 5, who's your 5? And this 5 of Murray, KCP, Jokic, Gordon, and Porter complement one another so well.
Yeah.
Because they know who's going to get the ball when it matters.
Yep.
They know who could hit a wide open 3.
Yep.
They all basically could, with the exception of like Aaron Gordon. Honestly, I wouldn't want you shooting threes.
But
But
he's
KCP
playing.
has knocked down a couple. I mean, I know he didn't in game 2, but like, Michael Porter hit the big 3 also. I just think that them losing game 2, being up 20, the fact that they've owned you for so long, you're about to steal one on the road going back to the Staples Center. It's the Staples Center. It's never going to be crypto. It's the Staples Center.
Correct.
For 32 years of my life, it was the Staples Center. It's going to be the Staples Center.
I love that.
You lose that game, I think the series is over.
Yeah. Oh, it's so over.
But it doesn't mean
ISO
Cam. It's time.
Oh shit,
George, I know you get a little horned up when I do
Wait,
this, right?
lower the laptop. This way. Yeah.
Okay.
They are.
All right. So here's the thing. In sports betting, there are certain spots that I bet blindly. What I mean by that is a great team in the regular season of the NFL gets smoked on a primetime game. I'm taking them the next week.
Mm-hmm.
NBA playoffs. A team down 0-2, coming home for game 3. First quarter, first half against the spread. It is, I bet it every single time. I bet the Sixers, the Lakers, and the Magic in the first halves of game 3. I even parlayed all of them. You get plus 600 to parlay them against the spread. The logic behind that is you can't lose game 3.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to come out fired up in game 3. You're at home. It's the playoff home opener.
Right.
Your crowd is excited. You're probably going to get some favorable whistles early on.
Yeah.
And I think that the teams put forward their best foot in these spots. And I bet it every single time. I haven't bet the Suns yet because that line wasn't up when I made those bets. Gonna bet it also. And it's been something, it's like a staple in the VM betting community. It's the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And shit, I remember last year I hit a bet where I took one team, the team down 0-2 to be covering the first half and then to lose against the spread in the second half. Those like halftime, full-time bets that you can make. And you could get some like plus 600s on those.
Crazy.
That's going a little too far.
Yeah.
But for me, like this is, if you see me post a ticket, don't be like, dude, you didn't post about it. I shouldn't have. You should know this. If you're listening to the show, you should know this. You have to bet this spot. It's a situational spot. We're always betting. Laptop open. Let's get back to
I like it. All right.
All right. Before we move on, though, let's do a roll call for Patreon. We are at 71 paid members. We're at 101 total members. Remember, the Patreon there's also, you could join the Patreon. It's free to join the Patreon. However, there are certain tiers you got to be in to unlock all the perks and to join the Discord. The Discord is actually also free too. If you're listening to this, go to the bio of the episode. Discord is free. There are certain things in the Discord that you don't get access to unless you are a Patreon member. But patreon.com/veterans minimum. As you can see here on the screen, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have the tiers. We have a $1, $5, $10, $20, and $40 tier. And right now, the active members in the Patreon, roll call time. We got Daniel Gibson, Mahul Patel, Abel Rezin, Ben Coetzee, and Christopher Velasquez. Derek Platees, Dylan Chadwick, Jerry Shapiro, Jordan Riley, Mike Stevens, Mike Wozniak, Thomas Robinson, and Nick Crummage. Thank you all so much for the contribution to the Patreon. I haven't forgotten. I'm gathering up all the things that I need to send to the people that I need to send. I owe someone a helmet too from the Super Bowl. I haven't sent it out yet. We're giving away a pair of Jordans for the month of April. Pledge to the Patreon. You need to be in the $10 tier or higher. We're giving out a pair of Jordans. I think we're going to go with the 11s.
Yeah.
Jordan
What
11s.
colorway? Any? Just.
I don't want to say any because there's some Jordans that are like $4,000 that are 11s.
That is true.
I get crazy, but we're going to give a pair of 11s. It's like a $200 sneaker, bro.
Yeah.
Nice. With the shipping, it's like
Ooh.
$250.
One of my favorites, the white cherry lows.
Mm,
Oh, yeah.
those are good.
I used to hoop in those in middle school.
Those are good. Patreon.com/veterans minimum for all things Patreon. Okay. And before we move on, sponsor time. Shout out to Unified Healing. George, I got a lot of good feedback about the video I posted.
I've heard, Nick, you are dangerous.
People, a lot of my friends from back home were like, "You're a pussy." That's why going back to how we started the conversation earlier in the show when I was telling you, like, you know, I have meetings with a lot of very important people in the industry. And my friends are like, "How do you have these meetings with these people? You're dumb as shit." And I'm like, "I just have a great ability to turn it on when I need to. And I like to have fun when I don't."
Right.
Mr. Personality over here.
The best ability, adaptability. Boom.
I like it. I like it. Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster like me or a world-class podcaster athlete like me, like that one. That's not part of the script. Is free bars, free game.
I like it.
We all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. That's something I've been doing more often.
Yeah.
Like massage treatments, no happy endings,
Right.
but you know, a little cold plunge.
You got to take care of it.
You have to.
Nick,
you
you're not going to get another body.
Yeah.
They haven't invented cloning yet.
Hey, listen, this body don't look like it, but there's a Lamborghini under it.
It's getting summer ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a Lamborghini body. It's just that it's kind of covered up in a 2016 Hyundai.
Yeah. But you can shed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
with
could
some remodeling.
Shed the Hyundai.
Some remodeling.
Yeah.
That's why this episode is also sponsored by Unified Healing. Shout out to Unified Healing. It's a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement Systems, or EESystem, so we don't say the whole word.
Right.
If you haven't heard of EESystem yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. I mean, the wordplay.
Right.
Fantastic. Whether you're here in Las Vegas or hundreds of other locations across the globe, not just the US of A, global shit, access to a center is easy and affordable. We're actually going to go to one. I haven't told you yet. No, I did tell you.
Yeah.
I just haven't told you the date yet.
Yeah. We're going to go get some rejuvenation.
Yeah.
Relaxation.
Yeah. Some wellness. And some purification.
There we go. That was the last one. Shit.
If you're interested in experiencing the EESystem technology for yourself, go to unifiedhealing.com/VETMIN, VETMIN, to learn more and find a center near you. It's spelled UNIFYD. That's UNIFYD, healing.com/VETMIN. Check them out. Tell them we sent you. It will go a long way to building a relationship with Unified Healing and potentially being a partner long term. But shout out to them for sponsoring the show. And let's get back to the program. George.
Yes.
I think we could put a bow on the NBA.
Okay.
For now. Boxing.
Oh, yes. Oh, we got so much to talk about, Nick.
We have so much to talk about. The amount of people that hit me up when Ryan Garcia said he cashed in a $10 million betting on himself. It was like, I thought it was my birthday again. Like, I like that I'm the sports betting dude in a lot of your lives. I appreciate it. That's who I am. That's who I've been my whole life. I was always a sports betting dude. My high school football coach, shout out to Coach Brosnan. That's one of my goats. He's on my Mount Rushmore. He would tell me, like, yo, what do you like in the Monday Night Football game? I'd be like, Coach, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, the fuck you mean you don't know what you're talking about? I know, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'll be like, yo, Baltimore +7. I think that line is crazy. So whenever something like this happens, people want to ask me, like, yo, how is Ryan Garcia able to bet $2 million on himself to beat Devin Haney? He posts on social media, always bet on yourself. And I said, Jonte Porter tried to. I'm a big bet on yourself guy too, bro.
Right.
Like it's my whole. It's a hashtag in almost every post that I make. It's something I really believe in. I personally don't like having salary jobs. I love commission. I
Right.
love hourly.
Mhm.
Don't put a ceiling on what I can earn if I want to hustle and grind. One of the reasons why I like ISO time.
Oh shit.
One of the reasons why I like this field, George, and I was having this conversation today with my guy Corey. Shouts to Corey from Jiu Jitsu. Dude's a purple belt. He's a fucking psychopath. I tell him all the time, I'm like, yo, I can't be a purple belt if you're a purple belt. We need you to be promoted first.
Right.
Because I can't have a purple belt stand next to you in our
Standards
geese.
are
It's
just
like, bro,
different.
I can't.
Yeah.
Like, you're the reason why I don't value belts.
Mm.
You know?
That's tough.
It's tough. It's humbling. It's
Yeah,
dope, though. Shout out to
definitely.
Corey. But we were talking about something, and I was like, yo, one of my favorite things about this line of work that I do, and I'm super grateful for it, and I can't express how much it means to me that I'm doing this stuff, because I feel like it's an honor and a privilege to do the things that you love to do and to be compensated for it. All I ever wanted to do from the beginning was create content and tell people like, yo, what do you do? I'm a content creator, which is what I am now. So I'm super grateful. Shout out to all of you for making it happen. Why I'm saying all this? I love this line of work so much because I never wanted a job. And even when I was working with my dad at the coffee truck, I never wanted a job that'll be like, dude, you're going to make $100,000 this year. $100,000 is amazing. Absolutely amazing. But I never wanted that to be the ceiling on what I can make.
Mhm.
Because I'm someone that like, bro, if I can make a couple dollars legally,
Mhm.
I'm going to do it. I'll find a way.
Right.
I got to work 12 hours this week. No problem. I'll do it. I got to stay up till 3 a.m. I'll do it. I get that from the New York hustle spirit and growing up and being self-employed and all that stuff. So I never wanted to have, you're only going to make $100K. Like, nah, man, if I want to grind and work and I want to take on more and more responsibilities, let me earn it to make $250, $300, $1 million, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
So I'm big on the betting on yourself stuff, to tie it back to Ryan Garcia. The reason why Ryan Garcia is able to bet on himself, there's a lot of different reasons why. Let me ask you this. Why do you think this is the only sport that you can legally bet on yourself?
Yeah.
Why do you think?
Because there is no checks and balances in place for boxers to not be able to do something like this. There's not commissions. The only commissions that exist are the ones that are, you know, they're there to set the referees and the rules of what happens inside the ring. But they don't give a fuck how you promote yourself or anything that happens outside the ring. And boxing is just a phony sport. Boxing is scripted. And until I'm proven otherwise, you know, like when I see things like this, the fact that Ryan made, what was it, $12 million?
Yeah.
The fact that he makes $12 million and he was probably going to take home a purse of $3 to $4 million, if I had to imagine.
I think he made more than that.
Okay. Regardless, he's making a lot of money.
Yeah, he's making a lot of money, for sure. Yeah. He just made more money now.
I don't know. It's so unbelievable. And the reason why I'm just like struggling to explain how fake it is because they do such a good job. You know, at least with WWE, we know that, you know, it's
scripted entertainment. Yeah.
It's scripted entertainment.
Right.
But with boxing, they do such a good job of hiding it and the way that they structure these boxers' careers to make it seem like something bigger than it actually is. And they're really setting up for the second fight, the third fight, the fourth fight, in the first fight.
Yeah.
Because if they were to have a rematch again, you best believe that I'm taking Haney because they would want the trilogy. And so you can, I guess, in a way, start to map that, you know, path out in boxing if you look for those type of patterns. But I mean, it's awesome. You know, you can bet on himself. Who the hell took that action, by the way? Did it say what sportsbook it was?
That's a great question.
Because to take that action and know that it's him, it's one thing for Floyd, because Floyd used to do that before his fights. He'd go in with a duffel bag of $500,000 or $1 million. I don't think Floyd ever put in multi-millions on himself for a fight. I could be wrong.
So I haven't been able to gather, because obviously I've been researching this entire conversation since it came out. I haven't been able to identify or find the sports book that this happened.
Mm.
To the Floyd thing. Floyd in the past has been very public about his betting habits.
Yeah.
Prior to facing Connor, he tried putting, I think it was like 400 or 500K on the under 9.5 rounds at minus 200 odds at the M Resort.
The M.
Yeah. They refused to take that bet. Now, it's a big question that people have, right? Like, should boxers be able to bet on themselves? Seems to be the only sport that allows the actual participants to do so. All the other sports, they have strict guidelines. Yo, bro, you're going to get a lifetime ban
If you do this.
if you do this. So is your $50,000 parlay worth the $30 million you're going to be making? You decide. If you do it, I think you should be banned because you're a fucking idiot.
Right.
If I have $30 million a year and I tell you, bro, I'm going to throw this game, and you're going to be like, dude, how much are you going to make? 50K, 100K, hell, even $1 million.
Right.
What would you tell me, George, as my friend?
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You'd even throw the fuck in the middle of that.
But lend me the cash. Let me put that in for you.
And then we have an Otani situation.
Yeah.
What happens if us two have a fallout?
No sé.
No say.
You need an interpreter now, and that's how we work that in. He just never understood. Yeah.
No habla
No,
inglés.
no habla inglés. Yo quiero ganar dinero, ¿sí? ¿Sí o no?
So it's not a team sport. And for example, like the NFL players, they cannot bet on a football game, but they can bet on baseball.
Right.
Like that's the NFL. Now there are other leagues where like NBA, they might, and I don't know entirely, because like Jonte Porter actually bet on himself in actual games. That I don't like. But if like Devin Booker is in Vegas and he wants to put 10K on the Super Bowl, like why shouldn't he?
Right.
Like that's where I think it's ridiculous. Also, something that's very important, he was allowed to place this wager on himself because boxing doesn't have a commission or an actual league overseeing it.
Yeah.
UFC, yo, you're a UFC fighter, you can't bet on yourself.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to. Ever since the James Krause stuff went down.
I was about to say, it's
like,
been about a year and a half now.
You can't have that. So not having an overall commissioning body that dictates, there's also fight stipulations, right? Like Paul and Tyson.
Is an exhibition now.
It's an exhibition now. So how are we judging that? Is there actually a winner? Right? Like Roy Jones and Tyson, there wasn't actually an official winner. So everything is set up via the state athletic commissions. And in this instance, Nevada State Athletic Commissions and Nevada Gaming Control. Neither body has any restrictions about a boxer betting on themselves to win.
So he put the bet here, not in New York.
That's what it's saying. Now, I don't know what sports book it was. That's what. So if they bet on themselves to win, they allow it. Fight contracts usually include languages that forbids a boxer to bet on their opponent to win, as well as they don't also allow props.
Right.
So like Ryan Garcia and shit, that first round kind of looked like he bet on himself to win in the first round because he dropped Haney. You know, I had him doing the chicken dance over there.
Yeah.
These are things that also were brought to light by Floyd Mayweather in the past. He's publicly said like, yo, I tried to bet the stoppage in round 9. They didn't let me. Because obviously, if you know that, like, yo, if I get the stoppage in the 10th round and I win an extra $12 million, you know you're going balls to the wall.
Oh, yeah.
To get that stoppage.
Yep.
So that I hope you guys I hope this helps you understand why boxing is so much different from other sports leagues, because there's WBA, WBC, WCB, ABC,
IFB,
EFG,
the
like,
ZZ.
there's so much
TC.
different WBI, like there's so much different.
Yeah. It's the worst, Nick. There's
Yeah.
no worse sport. And the fact that it was ranked #1 when we did that list of the toughest sports in the world,
Yeah.
and boxing's just fucking chilling up there at #1, that fake ass shit has got to stop. Because it appeared to me the entire fight that Bill Haney and Devin Haney got some signed somewhere with that referee Harvey Dock that said, "Hey Harvey, this fight will not be finished." The timeouts that this man was calling, he picked up Devin Haney one time. He literally grabbed him underneath his armpits, lifted him up, and then started counting like 5 seconds later. It's
Some
like,
questionable
whoa.
refereeing there for sure.
But it's setting up for the sequel. I get it.
I mean, dude,
I
I
get
bet,
it.
you know what I bet? I bet the draw.
Oh my! It was what, 300?
It was
it wasn't
30 to 1.
30 to 1. Yeah.
You know why? Because every time there's, I bet the draw in Tank and Ryan.
Yep.
I hit the draw with Canelo and Triple G way back in the day. I bet it also with Pacquiao and Floyd. Anytime there's these big showdowns, like
Right.
fantasy booking, to use a wrestling term, I'm gonna always bet the draw, just because I think I feel that way. I think there's a lot of money involved. Like now that fight is even bigger, Devin and Ryan, to run it back.
Right.
You know, like the other thing I think is whack is he missed weight, had to pay a $1.5 million penalty that he said he would to Devin, but Devin is still the champion in that division. Because when you miss weight, you can't, like, the streets know who won that fight and who the champ really is. But
so he didn't, because Haney was undisputed, so he had all the belts.
yeah.
So
and I think that
Garcia lost like what, 4 of the belts or something.
no, I don't think
He didn't lose any of them, because I don't think it was the same for all the commissions. But then again, Nick, I don't need you to know that because it's ridiculous anyways.
yeah,
It's stupid.
yeah. It's a lot, man. That's the only gripe I have with boxing. I think there's a lot of just, and dude, I was telling Jeremiah this when we were talking about it. I can watch a UFC fight, and maybe because I consume UFC more, way more for sure. Like that's not even up for debate. But man, I can watch a UFC fight and I can tell you, bro, he won 29-28, or you know what, it might be a split decision. And then I could watch a fight and say, yo, he might have 2 10-8s. That's a 50-43 at worst. But boxing, I can't tell. Shout out to Kel Dansby and Andreas Hale. I had the notifications on my phone for all their tweets, and they were doing live tweets, and I was able to monitor that because, you know, they have a boxing show, The Corner, and they've been on the show many times, friends of the podcast, and like they cover boxing, and they can actually score around. Like one time forgot what round it was. I was like, yo, I think Ryan won that. And all of social media was like 10-9 Haney. And I was like, how, bro?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not going to come off as a boxing expert, but with the betting stuff, I think it's really insightful what we were just breaking down as far as why it's allowed in boxing and why it's not in other sports.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say this. They've built the sport to a point where when you do have big pay-per-views, as much as I shit on the sport, I'm watching it. I'm definitely not paying for it, but I'm watching it.
How dare you?
I know. Dude, we used to, the boxing voice used to record out of here. That was one thing that Ness never did. I was like, Ness, like, I don't understand why you're buying these pay-per-views. He's like, no. Because he loved boxing so much that he understands that those pay-per-view buys
go towards the fighter.
Go towards
Nah,
the fighter.
that's a fair case,
Which
man.
I'm like,
and I fuck with that.
Yeah.
I fuck with that. Like
Yeah.
when buying albums was still a thing, I used to love buying albums from my favorite artists,
Makes sense.
you know?
It's the same thing.
So, all right. Banger of an episode, bro.
I know, dude. I had a lot of fun. Basketball is going to keep heating up.
Yeah.
The combos are going
Try
to
to
get
get
deeper.
a guest on next week. I reached out to CJ, but it was too last minute. I got to plan accordingly with him. Shouts to CJ Watson. It was his birthday last week. I want to end with this.
Yeah.
Real quick, rapid. Do you enjoy the NFL draft?
I only enjoy it when I do live streams with you, like how we did
Oh,
last
yeah,
year.
last year we did that. Yeah, that was dope.
It was kind of fun, you know. I mean, we made content out of
Yeah.
it, so it didn't feel like it was meaningless.
Yeah, a couple years ago, I was streaming on Twitch the NFL draft too. So like that's always cool to get like the live reactions.
Yeah, but I mean, you're gonna go on a long rant here because you did last year about how just meaningless all the grades are, dude.
Oh, that's my least favorite thing. And I know I was just talking before about how much I love the content space. My least favorite thing is draft grades.
Yeah.
Because I'll be on this hill alone. Don't nobody know anything.
True.
Nah, and I appreciate the work that like the Mel Kipers and Daniel Jeremiahs do of the world and all these experts on PFF and your favorite draft guy. I appreciate their and I respect their research and the time they put into it.
Right.
However, when I meet them and they ask me about this stuff, I say, I don't think anyone knows anything. Because the amount of times we get a draft. So Thursday night is the draft, right? Tomorrow, if you're listening, today, if you're listening to this, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Might have confused
Yeah.
some people. When you wake up Friday morning, every single news outlet is going to have draft grades. And remember those grades. Some teams are going to get A pluses, and then the guy's not going to sign a second contract with the team. Some teams are going to get Ds, and then it's going to be one of the greatest draft classes in franchise history, which leads me to why I hate grades and the draft process. Now, look, I've always felt as if address a need,
Correct.
right? Or best available. Like, that's cool. You know, if the Giants land a wide receiver, I'll be very excited.
Right.
Have some weapons. That'd be nice,
Mm-hmm.
right? If the Commanders get a quarterback, which they have, like that's you need one. You're trying, but dude, I loved Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
I thought he was the chosen Rosen.
Coming out of UCLA, dude.
Yeah, I thought he was the guy.
Yeah.
Off the team after a year.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Josh Allen. Best quarterback of that draft class, arguably, and I know Lamar also with the 2 MVPs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold was supposed to be the one. He's been on 5 teams.
Yeah.
Like Baker's been on multiple. Like no one knows.
Mm-hmm.
And the best example ever, at least that I could remember off the top of my head, the 2012 NFL draft class for the Seattle Seahawks got a D
Jeez. Go over. Who do they have?
via ESPN and PFF. They got Ds. This is who they drafted. Bruce Irving, Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson, Robert Turbin, Jeremy Lane. 5 guys that became pillars of the franchise, especially Wagner was an all-pro year in, year out, and then obviously Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
They got a D. Don't know about
You had a
it.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You
2
legit
of
had a
them.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, 2.
Who you put in the second one?
Wilson.
Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah. Well, first of all, now everybody gets into the Hall of Fame, so it's not as prestigious.
I would still say the NFL Hall of Fame is the most prestigious out of all of them.
Russell Wilson was probably the third best quarterback of the 2010s. It was Brady
It's one
and
of those things
Rodgers.
I must have forgot.
Yeah, you must have forgot.
Yeah.
Brady, Rodgers, and
That's fair.
Wilson. The amount of battles that he had with the Packers in the playoffs, went to 2 Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl. He never got an MVP vote, but I think those were the right decisions. Like, he was never the MVP of the league. And then towards the tail end of his Seattle run, let Russ Cook became a thing when they were letting him throw to the Metcalfs and Tyler Lockett's of the world.
Yeah.
Dude turned Doug Baldwin, an undrafted free agent, into like a legitimate fantasy football star and was playing really good ball. And like Jeremy Curse.
Yeah.
Right? Like this guy was, Russ was that dude in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I think just people forget because now it's looked so bad, right?
Dude,
like
I mean,
it's been catastrophic in
if you
Denver, We don't know what it's going to look like in Pittsburgh, but
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best. He's a top 5 quarterback of the 2010s. And if you're a top 5 player in your generation, I think you're a Hall of Famer.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. You outlined a really good case there. But if you would have got,
I'm not saying first ballot. I don't think he'll be first ballot, but I think he'll definitely be a
Yeah.
Hall of Famer one day.
like if you got put into a coma 8 years ago and you woke up from that coma today, no doubt.
8 years ago is what, 2016?
Yeah.
Russell Wilson. So like Mahomes isn't in the league yet. Lamar's not in the league yet. Josh Allen ain't in the league yet. Dak it's Dak's rookie year. Rodgers is still that dude.
Mhm.
Brady is still that dude. Breeze is like a shot fighter. Ben is a shot fighter. Like, yeah, bro. He's
Yeah.
the third best quarterback of the 2010s.
For sure. For sure.
A clip I didn't expect to make, but now I'll be making it.
I mean, I'm going to get clown for the Tyrese Maxey. You're probably going to get clown for the
Yeah,
for
because
Russell
people
Wilson.
are going to remember Russ now,
Right.
and they're not going to remember the comeback wins, being in a tough-ass division. Remember the wars they were going at it with the Niners, right?
Yeah.
Like that Niners run with Harbaugh and Kaepernick, and like dude was conference championship game, won their division, won a Super Bowl. Like, yeah, I think he's definitely a Hall of Famer
Wow.
for sure. Let us know what you guys think. A lot in this episode, a lot to discuss. Please comment, rate, review, subscribe. Tell people that you're doing so too. Tag us on social media. It goes an absolute long way in growing the brand and growing the show. Got a lot of big plans for the future. Already starting to map out what the football season is going to look like. Shit, man. After the draft, it's rookie training camp
shit.
is next month, and then
Yeah.
before you know it, June. OTAs, like the mandatory OTAs, and then
Schedules.
July is going to get pretty quiet. Not for the show. We got
yeah.
international soccer coming. Those are going to be bangers. Copa America. You got the Euro Cup.
Olympics.
So,
Yeah, but
I don't like the Olympics.
okay, if when I'm co-hosting with you in those times, give me like a 2-minute, like this is what happened.
We could do
USA
Olympic rundown with George. I'll
But
give you 5 minutes.
Only USA and Cuba I'll report on.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you give me a Greece report.
All right.
Yeah, dude. I mean, show some pride.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Show
And
some
Colombia too.
Oh, yeah.
Adopted Colombian.
Right.
Shout out to Medellin for many reasons. Okay. At Nick Day is 10 as you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum. George, where can they find you?
At Mr. George Carmona on Instagram. Make sure you give it a follow and see all the new fun stuff that I'm going to be doing. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Last thing, Monday, the Monday show. We're going to have Merab Davalishvili on the show. We've already recorded it. If you're listening to this, it's going to be up on the Patreon, so go check out the Patreon. But Merab is on the show, and very fun conversation. I hope you guys can share, rate, and review that one too. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the games, and we'll circle back next week. Later, y'all.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.